All right, guys, here is the much anticipated Zelos Horizons GMT in a very manageable size. Big thanks to my buddy Bruce for lending in his watch here so we can all take a look at it on this channel. So first off, let's talk about the case size, because that is one of the great features about this watch, that it's going to work on some of the smaller wristed guys and have all that GMT function with the ETA 2893 decorated movement. So the case size is a 40 millimeter case, not including the crown. There is no crown guard, so it's a really clean profile. The lug to lug, non-drilled lugs, is only 44.6. So it is not gonna go beyond, for the smaller wristed guys, or even if you have, like 7.25 like mine, you're still gonna be able to pull it off, no problem. You just don't have that crazy long span of the lugs to mess up your wrist fit. The thickness is a 13.2. That includes that sapphire domed crystal. And the lug width is a 20 mil, which is ideal. So you're going to be able to have tons of strap choices. Of course, it does come with this Horween leather strap, which is, near perfection as far as leather straps go. This is a really nice strap. And then it should come with a rubber tropic style strap. I don't think Bruce included that in the packaging, but nevertheless, let's talk about the movement, shall we? You can see here it is slightly decorated with some swirly marks on the inner components. You have a custom rotor there with the grid and of the planet. You can see there everything's ticking away, nicely done, and it is all finished up really nice. It's nice to have a display case back. This is a 200 meter water resist watch, so that's a bit of a challenge sometimes to have a nice display back and have that water resistance. So if you look at the front, we're going to take a closer look here. You have that really nice cobalt blue, applied indices, applied logo, printed on GMT 200 meter. That is a sapphire bezel insert there, and it is a bi-directional ball bearing system. I'll show you that in a minute, but nicely polished handset with no beveling. Typically, we see bevels on these handsets, and they reflect the light in an interesting way, but in this case, they're just flat, which also makes it, I think, kind of easy to read at like different angles and everything like that. It also gives a really good amount of lume option on the hour and minute hand. Second hand, all the indices, all that is going to be coated with C3X1 lume, which is always very potent without being over the top with the amount of lume on this watch, like some of the previous Zelos models. Date window at 6 o'clock, black date wheel, white print. You have that 24-hour track on the inner chapter. So that's going to be probably the easiest way to track your second time zone. I mean, you could mess around with a third time zone if you want to mess around with this bi-directional bezel. So you should be able to dial in whatever you want to do with it. I don't know. Most of the people I talk to maybe track the second time zone on that inner chapter. I have yet to see anybody track a third one. They almost like the symmetry of, the blue on the top and the almost putty or battleship gray on the bottom, and just keep it wearing it like that as more of a style instead of a function. But hand wind, of course, a little bit of crown wobble on this guy. First position, you're going to be able to do your GMT hand here. You can move it forward, not backward. And when you rotate backwards, you're going to get your date change. Last position is going to hack the movement, and then you're going to be able to do the time setting. So you should be able to dial this in. Once you get it dialed in, you should be able to just leave it wherever it is, whatever works for you. And occasionally you'll have to do the date change depending on the days in the month. But other than that, I mean, it's a pretty rock solid build. You can see the brushing, the polishing, everything done really well. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a wrist shot here real quick. And then hopefully I can give you some sense of proportion as far as the actual case size here, so you can determine if this is going to work for you. That's on my 7.25 inch wrist. You can see it wears fine, but it's definitely on the smaller size. So if you get, if you're looking for a GMT watch, and you have a little bit smaller wrist, this is definitely going to be your pick. Here it is next to a full-size SKX. And you can see the SKX actually has a pretty short lug-to-lug, but this Zelos is actually just a touch shorter even. Similar in thickness. I did want to point out too, for future reference, this particular watch does have a little bit of curbage here on the left side. Here it is next to my recently sent in SKX 013. It's actually probably a little bit closer to this size, or maybe it's the Goldilocks right in between the full-size SKX and the smaller scaled 013. It's probably like right in between them, I would say. So if that size works for you, don't hesitate. They are currently at $649. That is the introductory price, but they are going to go up. That's the way Zelos works. And there's a few different colorways. I'll put a link to the Zelos website in the description, so definitely check one out. And here is your limb shot. So you have I just noticed the GMT hand is actually in a blue color, and then the rest, well, actually the pip on the sapphire insert is actually a little bit of blue too. It's very subtle though, very light, and then the rest of it is all that very nicely formulated C3X1 lume, which is really close to, in some cases, even brighter than the Seiko lume. So you can see there it's easily holding its own with the Seiko lume. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you very soon on the next video.